Hi everyone, my name is Jay West and this is Directions. Directions is about things that happen in your life and my life and other people's lives that often bring a course direction, sending you down a trail, going somewhere that you hadn't planned to go, bringing things in your life that cause you to think, cause you to pause, cause you to wonder, cause you to meditate on, perhaps turn to God. Perhaps you're already walking with God and turning to Him deeper, possibly running away from God. Our last guest was Tony Bussey, and hope you had a chance to watch the show. If you didn't, go back and watch it on my YouTube channel. You can watch it on KPAO here where we record the shows. If you're watching in Omaha, Tony was spent 15 years in the drug culture, took every drug known to man, really, and for years and years and years, had a car accident, blew out his stomach, had internal bleeding for multiple days, multiple herniated discs in his back. His back was just blown apart, and his left leg was paralyzed, and he could just an extreme amount of pain. Woke up one morning, sleeps with a revolver underneath his pillow, 38 loaded, was reaching for it. He thought, I'll just kill myself. That's the best way out. And he's living with his girlfriend and her mother, and she walks by his room. He says, hey, there's this guy at this church praying for healing this morning. Would you like to go? And Tony's basic response was, I can kill myself tonight. Decides to go to the church, not knowing who I am. I'm preaching there. I'm a guest. It's a beautiful Savior Lutheran Church here in Omaha. And Tony's life was touched that morning. God supernaturally healed him. He was delivered from drugs, delivered from a spirit of suicide, became a born-again Christian. His life was turned around, and our interview this morning, which you can watch, is 17, 18 years later after the day he was going to commit suicide. Anyway, radical directional change, radical. And so that's what this show is about. And so I thought I'd share a few of mine. Mine are not anywhere near his. Mine are things that I went through in my life in terms of sickness and disease and how God intervened. And so I'm going to share a few of those with you and talk about them. Talk about my feelings. Because a lot of people battle disease and battle sickness. And as a result of the things I've gone through, I pray for lots of people, and a lot of them get well. I was just up in Minnesota this last weekend, and the presence of God was strong, and just all sorts of pain issues and plantar fasciitis. I don't even know how to say that one. The guy's foot was healed. He was in so much pain. Every step was painful, and instantly it was healed, and the power of God hit. And so it's what I do. And it's very low key. It's very relaxed. It's unlike a lot of what you see on Christian television. It's not to say the other way is wrong. It's just that's not how I flow. Mine is calm, quiet, rather quickly, 15, 30-second prayers. But that's another story. Yeah, one of the first, as a child, I battled all sorts of things. As a young teenager, my back was hurting all the time, and it found out that I have an extra vertebrae in my back. So how that happened, I don't know. But there was no muscle tissue to form around it. And so I have bone, kind of on bone, rubbing, and I'm in extreme agony and pain. And I remember trying to play basketball. I'm tall, and I couldn't run the lines. I couldn't do layups. There's a lot of things I couldn't do because I was in so much pain. And that's when we discovered I had an extra vertebrae, and I had to go through therapy. And I didn't know anything about healing in those days. I'm just, God help me. Is this going to last forever? Is this the way I'm going to live? It wasn't. God supernaturally healed that and took that pain away. But, I have an extra vertebrae. What do I do with that, and why? How does that happen? Occasionally, to this day, I have a twinge of pain here and there, but to recognize that it's there, I don't know. I don't get it. How does something like that happen? I don't know. I don't have an answer. That probably doesn't give you a lot of hope. The hope there is that I trust in God. I wrote a poem this morning on Facebook. It was a spontaneous poem. And I'm going to read it to you before I share anything else. because it'll add value to what I'm going to share. So I literally got up this morning, I woke up and I wrote this. It's called Trust is a Must. Original poem by Jay West. Trust is a must. Trust is a must in the midst of adversity, in the middle of persecution. When sickness hits, trust is a must. When others don't understand you, when all hell seems to be breaking loose, when others speak bad about you, trust is a must. When you have financial problems, when friends are unreasonable, when colleagues seem irritated, trust is a must. When the family is arguing, when personal frustrations exist, when fear and doubts take center stage, trust is a must. When you take a step of faith and others think you are crazy, when people criticize you, when no one supports you, trust is a must. When you are alone, when you desperately need a friend, when it seems like all is lost, trust is a must. When God is silent, when you are spiritually low, when your tank is empty, trust is a must. When all you have is memories, when vision seems to fade, when holding on is all you have left, trust is a must. And that's been a lot of my life. Trust is a must. 1988, I'm working in my yard in Texas, and I bent over and pulling some weeds, and suddenly I have a sharp pain in my gut. And I'm thinking, oh, I must have eaten something wrong. And that pain persists. And I remember going in and taking some stomach antacids or something. That didn't help. And I remember the day before I was driving somewhere and I'd bought some blue Gatorade or some kind of drink that was blue. And I thought, well, I'm never going to drink anything blue again. You know, what I didn't know was that was going to launch me into 3 years of excruciating pain and symptoms from something called irritable bowel syndrome. And I won't go into all the symptoms, but pain was my number one symptom. And it was there pretty much all day long, 24 hours a day. It was substantially worse than any headache I'd ever had or any other pain. And I learned all about this disease. The doctors told me there's no known cure. They told me in 1988, you will have this the rest of your life. Boy, when a doctor tells you you're going to have something the rest of your life, hope pretty well vanishes. It goes right out the door. And they said, it won't kill you. You just got to live with it. You got to learn to live with it. I'm like, wow, what do I do now? And there would be nights I'd wake myself up at night crying, and my wife would wake up and she would pray for me, and I'd fall back asleep. And there were certain things I could do, like if I eat a lot of protein, it would subside a little bit. If I went running, boy, running made it just, I would run until I would drop, as the pain would be gone for like 30 minutes, and then it would gradually come back and just, it was like somebody was on the inside of me drilling their way out with a sharp two-edged knife and drilling inside at the same time. It was horrible. And constipation and all sorts of other things, it's just yuck. June 1st, 1991, God healed me. It went away. Never came back. Never had a symptom. How did that happen? The doctor said I can't get well. The doctor said you're going to have this the rest of your life. But people were praying for me. A lot of people were praying for me. I don't understand why it took 3 years, but I'm glad God intervened because it was gone. Totally gone. 1991 to today, 2025. That's 9 and 25. That's 34 years. 34 years. Well, if some of the doctors said you can't get well from. Thankfully, Jesus didn't get that memo. The only thing I had was skin cancer on my ear. Right here, I moved here with it. I had it for 5 years, and we lived in rural Kansas, and we didn't have a dermatologist anywhere near us. I mean, we were out in the sticks, southwest corner of Kansas. We were in a tiny little town of 1,500. We had to drive 4 hours just to get on an airplane. That's how far away we were. And I had the skin cancer. It would manifest, it would get bloody, and then it would scab over, and just go out and get well, and then it would do it again. And it was slowly eating away at my outer ear. I went to the dermatologist in 2001, right here in Omaha. And the dermatologist said to me, she said, well, we're going to have to cut off your outer ear. We're going to have to do 5 restoration surgeries, plastic surgery and all that. You're not going to be able to work for 6 months because your ear is going to bleed every night, and you're going to lay on a pillow. You're going to have a towel. And it's going to be a process. Oh, and by the way, it's going to cost you at least $500,000. I'm like, oh no, what am I going to do now? I don't have $500,000. I had just left a job and I was covering my insurance, but it was running out. I know what to do. So I prayed. I just prayed. I said, God, what do I do? And he said, I heard the word, use Aldera cream. Aldera cream, what's that? I have no idea. It's a prescription strength cream that works on skin cancer. So I go back to the dermatologist, to the doctor, and I said, hey, I was praying. I heard this word Aldera cream. Can we try the Aldera cream? And the doctor said, she said, doesn't work on ears. It'll work on a flat surface like your hand or even your face, but it never works on ears. It's too intricate. It just doesn't work. And I remember kind of arguing with her, trying to persuade her and saying, hey, can we at least try it? Because it's going to take her signature on a prescription for me to get it. Slowly, my ear is being eaten away. And she looked at me and she says, it's not going to work, Jay, Mr. West, it's not going to work. I begged her, I said, please, I'm a believer, let me try. What's the harm in trying? So I finally convinced her. She said, okay, I'll write the prescription, but you'll be back here in a month and we'll be doing the surgery. I was back in a month, totally well. This is 2025, it's 2001, 24 years ago. God supernaturally intervened, and there he used medical and supernatural together to bring healing to my ear. Never had to have the surgery. God healed it, just like God touched Tony in the last show. Amazing to me. This didn't hurt, but it was sure going to mess up my life with my ear being chewed away. A lot of people die of, different types of skin cancer. It can be life-threatening. Another thing I had was neck and shoulder pain, the left side. I don't know why I had it, just neck and shoulder pain, hurting. I went to, chiropractors, massage therapists, orthopedic type people, all sorts of back doctors, tried all sorts of prescriptions, tried all sorts of things. Nothing worked. Nothing worked at all. And I'm in constant pain. It was like you're having a heart attack because the pain would radiate down my left arm, but I wasn't. It was in my neck and shoulder, radiating, not caused by the heart, but caused by the muscles and everything on this side. And I used to think to myself, I wonder if I'll ever get to feel normal on my left side like I do on my right. My right side had no pain. My left side had constant pain. No pain, constant pain. No pain, constant pain. I was praying. Why? I have no idea why it took 26 long years. Walked into a local church here in Omaha called Eagle's Nest. They had a lady evangelist on a Wednesday night, and she had a word of knowledge. She said, God's healing people, especially men, of pain on the left side of their neck and shoulders. And instantly I was healed. Another man there named Sean, he was healed of the same thing. I don't know how long he had his. But we were both healed that night. That was 2011. That was 14 years ago. Don't ask me why it lasted 26 years. I don't have an answer. The answer I have is Jesus Christ healed me, saved me, provided for me in a tough, difficult, directional change type of thing. Because my life, with these different things, my life is changing. When I had irritable bowel syndrome, I was working at a church that believed in healing. And every single day, we had a large staff, 40 people on staff with our schools and all. Every single day, people on staff, people in the congregation would call me, ask me, how are you feeling, Jay? And I would be honest. I'd say, man, it's hurting bad. Or I would say, yesterday was one of the worst days I've ever had. Or it got a little better yesterday, but it's bad today. But then I would throw in a word of faith. I'd say, but I believe God's healing me. I believe there's a Bible verse in here that'll touch me. I believe it. I found verses for everything I went through. And I staked my life on them. I stood with them and I said, this is what I'm believing for. And God came through and intervened. More recently, I got remarried after my previous wife passed away of leukemia and COVID together. Horrible to have both of those at the same time. I got remarried to a sweet lady, and then I started having sciatica pain in my back and legs, both legs, mostly the right, some on the left, so bad that I couldn't even sleep with her at night. Sometimes I have to go sleep on the couch or in a recliner chair or in a firmer bed in the other bedroom. And this is going on for multiple months. over a year. And I'm in pain. And it was okay when I was walking, not very good when I'm sitting, and horrible when I'm lying down. Pain, pain, pain. Go to the chiropractors, different ones. Oh, we can solve that for you. They couldn't solve it. Lots of massages. Oh, a temporary relief for a day or two, and then it was back. Trying different muscle relaxers and pain things and muscle pains from the medical doctors. Get a tiny bit of relief, but it was back. Went to a conference in Pennsylvania. It's called Voice of the Apostles. And there was a singing group there, a worship team called Jesus Image. And I had spent a lot of time with Jesus Image. They're out of Orlando, and they're an amazing worship with a church where unusual that they would worship for 45 minutes to an hour before you ever got to the message. And the church is packed. I can't say enough about it. A lot of young people singing real old songs and hymns and choruses and just worshiping God. And they were my mainstay, my life stay after my previous wife passed away. I spent hours, up to 10 hours a day with Jesus Image. And I so wanted to go hear them in person. And every time they were going to do something in Florida or somewhere else, my schedule with traveling or whatever conflicted and I couldn't go. So we went to the conference. Rebecca and I went to the conference in Pennsylvania this last fall. And when Jesus Image was going to lead worship, I decided I wanted to go up front. I don't usually go up front at churches when I'm visiting or ministries because I'm up front all the time when I am there speaking. I sit in the front row and I get up to speak and I'm in the front all the time. So it's nice to sit 3/4 of the way back or even in the back. And I was sitting towards the back. There was 3,000 people there and I was sitting at least 2/3 of the way back. And I leaned over to my wife and said, I want to go up front. I want to stand in the very front. I just want to encounter God. So we went up and the worship was, I think it was 75 minutes long. Standing the whole time, worshiping, raising your hands, tears flowing down my face. I am just ecstatic. I'm elated that I get to finally experience Jesus' Image in person. And I had flown there with a sciatica pain. I thought it hurt bad in the beds. Oh, it hurts worse on an airplane, especially when you're crowded in this third seat next to the window and little seats. I'm a big guy and tall guy, and I'm in pain. And I was pain up there. And I'm in worship, and God touched me with a directional change. And all the sciatica pain vanished instantly while I was up there. And I didn't even recognize it because I was so in tune with what God was doing. I wasn't even aware that the pain was subsiding, coming out of my body. It was amazing. I got back to my seat and I sat down and I realized, gee, I feel different. I feel better. That night, sleeping in the hotel room, I didn't have any pain. The next night, no pain. We get home, and I'm sleeping in bed, and I'm sleeping soundly all night long, and have ever since then. So it's been 8 months, 9 months, something like that. I don't know. Another directional change. Trust is a must. I read the poem at the beginning. Trust is a must. It's all I've got. That when the doctors say, we can't help you. When the doctors say, there's no known cure. When the doctors say, we got to cut off your ear. When the doctors say, you just have to live with a neck and shoulder pain. When the doctors tell you over and over, sciatica is hard to heal, hard to get past. Most people don't. They're doing their best. But they can't help you. What's left? I got God. I got my Bible. I got my Word. I got the Word of God that I lean on and trust and believe in. And, Proverbs says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not unto your own understanding. And we so often lean into our understanding. Lean way over. We're always leaning into what the doctors are saying, what the psychologist is saying, what the financial advisor is saying, what your banker is saying, what your bank account is saying. We're leaning in all these things. Are we willing to lean into God? Are you? It's hard sometimes. I've been walking with the Lord 52 years. It's still hard sometimes. And every time we're faced with a new thing, I shared with Tony, I have this ongoing thing in my mouth. I have it right now. 15, 16, 17 months ago, I had months of pain up here. And the dentist had tried multiple things, and nothing seemed to be working. And then he finally was able to determine what was wrong. There was a nerve and a tooth that split, and it's kind of like with fingers going in different directions, and it's not functioning the way it should be functioning. It's kind of like I had an extra vertebrae in my back when I was a child. Now I got nerves that are doing things that can't explain. And he said the best alternative is to pull the tooth and put in a fake tooth, the bridge, and he's telling me all this stuff, and I'm in pain as he's telling me. And faith rose up in me, and I said, no, I'm not going to. I've had so many dental procedures in my life. I've had root canals and abscess root canals and so many cavities. And it's a lot of it's my fault. I didn't take care of my teeth as a child and a young adult. I've learned how to as an older adult, but I didn't do a very good job. And the laws of sowing and reaping, whatever a man sows, he's going to reap. Boy, I got it. But I got this situation, probably not my fault. Nonetheless, it's there and painful. And faith just rose up to me in February of 2024. I said, no. And my poster child was Tony, who I interviewed, because God healed him. He has multiple herniated discs. They're still herniated for 18 years now, but he has no pain. I mean, his leg was paralyzed, and now his leg's not paralyzed, but it should be paralyzed because of the pain. But it's not. And I'm like, okay, you can't explain that one outside of God, can you? Directional change. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to trust God. And faith rose up on me, and suddenly the pain vanished. That was February 12th of last year, 2024. And today is April, whatever it is, April 10th, 11th. And I'm like, when I'm filming this, and I have no pain. So now for 14, 15 months, no pain. It is still the same. They took the x-ray yesterday. It's still the same. It looks abscess, it looks dark, the roots are doing funny things and doing weird things, and the doctor said you have pain in your brain and pain in your neck and pain all over and you should be throbbing. It's not. Hallelujah. Anytime pain goes away, it's great. It's amazing. And so I'm not saying I'm anybody special. Please understand that. I'm not. I'm a child of God, and he loves me. But I trust in him. Trust is a must. That was my poem. So now I'm facing something new today. I'll just be honest. My prostate numbers are up a little bit. Not into the danger zone, but creeping up. So I have to go to next week and have a blood test and have an x-ray. And if they're the same, kind of watch and see if they go up. We have to have a biopsy. I have perfect peace inside. I'm not worried at all. God's in control. I've seen him be in control. I've seen him heal me. I had kidney stones 11 years ago, and it was the worst pain I've ever had in my life. I had a mild heart attack 3 years ago. God healed me of that. I was like, okay, here's the next thing on the list. Starting way back, extra vertebrae when I was a child. Multiple things. This is the course of my life. Issues that cause you to stop, wonder, pray, agonize sometimes in pain, wondering, am I ever going to get well? Am I going to have a normal life? And then God intervenes and say, would you like to help others? I'm like, I need help. I'm the one that needs help. And he said, no, I want you to help others. So in 2001, I started praying for the sick, and I had limited resources, limited influence, limited whatever. But over time, it grew and grew and grew and grew, and I've seen thousands healed. And many of them stayed healed. I was just at this church in Minnesota, and I had 12 pictures of 12 different people, including Tony, up on a screen of people who had been healed that I got to pray for, and God did it. God did it. I didn't do it. He did it. Even that, trust is a must. I meet people who have far worse conditions than me, who have crippled hands that open up, and people who are in wheelchairs who get out of the wheelchairs, and people who are in walkers lay down their walkers and their canes, and people who are diagnosed with cancer and they get well, and diabetes and they get well, and fibromyalgia and they get well, and arthritis and bursitis and Lyme's disease and they get well. I mean, I've learned so much about diseases. It's like, and then there's a group that don't get well. I don't understand it, but I keep praying. I don't have to understand everything. That's not really that important. What's important is that I trust. Trust is a must. So what are you dealing with today? Maybe it's not sickness. Maybe it's financial pressure. Maybe it's a relationship issue in your marriage or with your kids or your grandkids, or a friend or a coworker. Maybe just the pressures of life are getting on you. I get it, I really do. I've walked through a lot of this stuff. I challenge you, I urge you, trust is a must. Lean into God today. Pray to him. Say, I don't know how to pray. Just say, God, help me. Psalm 46 says he's a very present help in a time of trouble. If you're in trouble, ask him. You don't have to be religious. You don't have to know all the right words. You don't have to bow your head and close your eyes. You don't have to do any of that stuff. Just go to him and say, God, I need help. I believe he'll show up. He'll come through other people. He'll come through the Bible. He'll come through somebody else praying for you. An answer will come. I've had lots of situations in my life, and the answers showed up over and over. And then they didn't always show up the day I wanted them. That's okay. Looking back, that's okay. At the time, wish it had been sooner. But walking through it, getting there, seeing him do it. And I'm traveling all over the United States speaking. I'm 68 years old, and I'm getting invitations all over the place. God's opening the doors. Lots of young people can be going. I get them. I'm like, hallelujah. I get to do something for the kingdom. I'm happy. I'm ecstatic. I want to bless you today in the name of Jesus. Trust him. Trust him. I'm going to say it again. Trust him. I know it's hard. I know it's difficult. I know it's trying. I know there's tears. I know there's pain. I know there's suffering. I know there's sorrow, anxiety, stress, you name it. I've seen it. I've had a lot of it. I'm still challenging you. Trust him. He's worth the risk. He's helped me. I believe he'll help you. Trust is a must. Thanks so much for tuning in today to Directions. Hope you have an amazing day. Contact me on the contact information on the bottom. I'll pray for you. I'll get back to you. I promise I will reach out to you. Thank you, and God bless you. Bye-bye.